Alright, today we have another Bleacher Report article to go over. This time it's actually going to be the perfect trade target for every NBA team. I've been, extremely excited to do one of these articles again. I believe, we've had a couple come out in the last couple of weeks. A lot more, I believe, are still coming out. And again, this one's actually being done by Andy Bailey on September 25th. 2020, and we see Chris Paul as the main, kind of player that they've decided to put on this article. So I'm interested to see all the Chris Paul trades that I'm guessing we're most likely going to get. We've got Atlanta Hawks and Eric Gordon. Okay, well, yeah, I guess this is an interesting one. I mean, Eric Gordon has a lot of playoff experience. His contract is a little bit bizarre. When they signed him on that contract, it was a little bit bizarre, as I just said. They did a very similar thing with Chris Paul before. He was extremely good in the playoffs, so, he could be a player that would be very nice. They obviously need a backup guard and a shooting guard that can bring in some nice defense here and there as well. Anthony Edwards would have been such a perfect player for them to go out and get. But yeah, I do like this move, Eric Gordon, if they could. Don't feel like the Rockets are going to give him up for easy, though, especially if they go and run it back. We got Boston Celtics, Myles Turner. Yeah, his contract is really big, and the Celtics are probably not going to have anywhere near that amount of, they're not going to want to go over the cap heaps to the point where their franchise is just spending heaps of money and not making any money in return. Myles Turner would be a big player for them, add them, defense, and just add a much-needed depth in center that they need. If they could get Myles Turner to start at center, and then you'd have Daniel Tice as your backup, not only would it improve a bench core that has been shown to be not exactly that great throughout the whole entire, NBA season, you also improve your depth at center tremendously, and that would put you in finals contention. So moving on now, we've got the Brooklyn Nets and Jrue Holiday. Yeah, again, that's a nice player to put, partner him up with Kyrie Irving. Makes a lot of sense. Called the Brooklyn Nets team needs glaring. In January, it started to feel like many teammates were playing on more borrowed time after Kyrie Irving or whatever. I don't even know. Kyrie Irving says some ridiculous things sometimes. I'm not going to look too much into whatever he's going on to say here. But honestly, I do believe Jrue Holiday would be a really nice player. Don't feel like the Pelicans are going to want to trade him, but if they could offer Caris LeVert and a couple other players here and there, then I definitely feel like a trade deal could potentially get done. Would be an interesting one, though. Charlotte Hornets and DeMar DeRozan? I don't know how I feel about that. I guess, he would be great to start at shooting guard. That would be a very nice player to start at shooting guard. And honestly, Rozier to the Spurs could actually be a very nice deal, considering it looked like they were reportedly interested in shopping Rozier around. Why not? And, again, they could go out and draft LaMelo Ball at pick 3, and considering a lot of people have been saying Devontae Graham is better to be playing a 6-man role, maybe not this season, but with 1 year under, LaMelo Ball developing at that point guard, they could have a starting 5 of LaMelo Ball at point guard, DeMar DeRozan at shooting guard, Miles Bridges a small forward, PJ Washington at power forward. I have a feeling they'll go out and get someone like Andre Drummond at center eventually. And then you could have like Devontae Graham, Malik Beasley, etc. off the bench. That's definitely a playoff team. You know what? I looked at the trade at the very start when, again, just looking at it then, as I don't really know if I like it, but, now that I think about it, wouldn't be the worst decision at all for them to potentially do it. Moving on now. Chicago Bulls go out and get Chris Paul. Look, I think that would be an okay option, especially if they can't get LaMelo Ball at pick 4. I do feel like they should try and get LaMelo Ball at really old cost. They should definitely try and get him. He'd be a nice player for their team for the, foreseeable future. I feel like, Kobe White is a guard that will probably be on the bench for a lot of his career. I don't really feel like he's going to be a starting point guard in the league. Could be a starting shooting guard in the league, but I don't really have that much high hopes for him. Again, he could definitely start as a role player in a really good team here and there. But if it's going to be his own team, I don't feel like he would ever start at point guard, if you know what I mean. Again, he could start at shooting guard. Chris Paul, in other words, would be a really nice player to add to this team. Finally gives someone to play with Zach LaVine. And also, he just had a season when he coached with Billy Donovan, who's just recently become the Chicago Bulls head coach. So, yeah, maybe an interesting one. I'm not saying it would be the worst idea. Cleveland Cavaliers draft picks. What? this is the perfect trade target for every team. I was hoping to get at least someone for the Cavaliers. They think draft picks. Okay, thanks Bleacher Report. It's very boring, especially for us fellow Cavs fans. I thought there'd be a player that could definitely be in mind here. Dallas Mavericks, Victor Oladipo. Yes, I do believe Victor Oladipo could be a nice player for the Mavericks. I actually really like them potentially going after Chris Paul, and a couple of you guys have kind of raised your eyebrows at me, but the reason I really do like the Chris Paul move is because we've seen a lot of Luka Doncic can play a lot of off-ball. We've seen that Chris Paul can play a lot of off-ball with the Houston Rockets, and, you know, when he played off-ball with James Harden. We've also seen him play a lot of off-ball when he kind of went about it with Dennis Schroeder when he was isolating, and SGA would go on and, you know, potentially isolate the ball as well. I feel like a Chris Paul move would be pretty nice. Victor Oladipo wouldn't be far behind it either. So yeah, again, I don't mind it. Denver Nuggets, Bradley Beal, perfect. That is a legit perfect move. He would be the perfect player for the Denver Nuggets. You know, he's a nice defender. He's a great scorer. How he didn't make the All-Star team is beyond me. But if they could trade like Gary Harris, a bunch of first-round picks, and maybe like just a young player here and there, get it done, Denver. That would be a really nice deal. But again, I really don't feel like the Wizards are going to want to trade him at all. Okay, the Detroit Pistons, Nicholas Batum. Okay. Yes, this particular side may be a bit confusing at first glance, but what it comes down to the fact that Batum will be on an expiring contract, assuming he picks up his $27 million player option. Okay, again, if you're a Detroit fan out there, I've thought, you know, it would have been nicer to at least get potentially something a little bit cooler than this, but this is it. Honestly, I was obviously very, disappointed when we got the Cavs one. They wanted draft picks, as the perfect target, but you know what, again, even though this is a boring slide, I truly believe this would be a great move. If the Detroit Pistons could get a pick out of the Charlotte Hornets for taking on Nicholas Batum's bad contract, go ahead, do it. That would be absolutely awesome. If they could get like, you know, if they could get like 3 or 4 first round picks, or maybe just 2 to 4 first round picks, whatever they're going to want to get, and Nicholas Batum for maybe a player on Detroit, or even they could get like a lottery protected or just a protected first here and there for taking on Batum's contract. Considering they're not going to be contending for a little bit now, and they won't be using the cap really that much at all, go and get Batum, especially if you can get a couple picks out of it. Would be a really nice deal. Golden State Warriors, Aaron Gordon. We've obviously touched a lot about this on the channel. If you're a massive Golden State fan, or just a Golden State fan in general, I would highly recommend checking out my Aaron Gordon and Golden State videos. I do believe this makes a lot of sense as well, considering Golden State like to play a lot of small ball. What would happen is Draymond Green would most likely start at center, and they'd have Gordon at power forward. I do believe they wouldn't do what the Rockets did and, you know, go fully small ball and bring a player like Jeff Green off the bench to, you know, kind of start at center. I believe they would be going out and getting like a player like James Wiseman with pick number 2 and bringing him off the bench for maybe 20 to 25 minutes per game. And pretty much they'd just be rotating through Green and Gordon and Wiggins, so like a full circle, if you know what I mean, at the forward position. So it could be a really, really nice move by the Golden State Warriors. I just feel like they need to decide if they're going to go really small ball like the Houston Rockets, or what they're going to do. Like, I feel like getting James Wiseman would be the better move, but the Aaron Gordon one is very interesting as well. Houston Rockets, Dwayne Dedmon? What? Micro Ball went down to, what? Why? Out of all centers, why would Dwayne Dedmon be the dude? I mean, they're going to want to push the pace, they're going to want to shoot threes. Why would they get Dwayne Dedmon? Moving on from that one, I don't even know. Indiana Pacers get Gordon Hayward. Okay. Very interesting one. Hayward could be again, a nice play for the team, but they've already got TJ Warren at that small forward position. So again, what would really be the use of Gordon Hayward if they've already got TJ Warren? I don't really feel like this makes, that much amount of sense, but yeah, I don't know. It's just a weird one. Los Angeles Clippers get Rudy Gay. Why? Why would the Clippers need Rudy Gay? It's pretty clear to see. They need a center that can space the floor, and they also need a point guard with some offensive power here and there. They can also play make. Rudy Gay is neither of those things. He could play center and maybe space the floor, but he's more of like a mid-range type of guy. So why would they really need Rudy Gay? It's a weird one. Lee. Again, wait, is that saying if they do sign Marcus Morris Sr.? I don't know. It's a really weird one. Los Angeles Lakers, Derrick Rose. He is the player I believe the Clippers should be going out and getting. Great offensive-minded, great playmaker. Would be perfect for the Clippers, and he's on a really nice, cheap deal. I don't really feel like he makes too much amount of sense for the Lakers compared to other teams, but I could definitely see something like this happening. They're going to need a backup point guard next season, considering Rajon Rondo has had a lot of injuries here and there. I don't really know how good he's going to be for next season. I feel like he would be better off being like a 10th to 12th man. And Derrick Rose should be a 6th man for the Los Angeles Lakers. And he might even start too, like legit. So he could start in reality. So I think it might be a pretty nice deal. But again, I believe the Clippers should go out and get him. The Memphis Grizzlies get Gordon Hayward. Why not? I couldn't see why they shouldn't go and do this deal. If they could get him for, a cheap amount. A straight swap between Valanciunas and Gordon Hayward would be what the Celtics would want to do because they desperately need a center. And he can also space the floor and defend. They could even start Tice at power forward too. That would be really interesting. And Tatum gets to go back and play that small forward position. Why not? I literally can't see why this would, not happen as well. I think it would be a pretty nice move, but the Grizzlies probably wouldn't want to trade Valanciunas unless they could get some nice center in free agency here and there. But this would be the ideal move for the Boston Celtics because they would definitely be wanting to get Valanciunas out of this deal. Moving on now, we got Miami Heat and Kyle Lowry. Ooh, probably not, considering Goran Dragic has been exploding that much in the playoffs. They're just going to want to keep him. And I'd say they'd rather go after a Victor Oladipo or a Giannis under the bow than what they would with Kyle Lowry. And I don't feel like the Toronto Raptors are going to be wanting to trade him either. So this is one of the ones where it doesn't really work for both sides. So probably not. But yeah, again, a very, very interesting one here and there. But moving on now, we got the Milwaukee Bucks and Chris Paul. Again, this would be a really nice one for the Bucks. I think it would be really good for them to partner up, Giannis with an actual star. I don't believe Chris Middleton is that much of a star. Look, he made the All-Star team. This was kind of when Kevin Love made the All-Star team with LeBron. It's because they were such great role players with their best player. I feel like, getting Chris Paul, who's a legitimate All-Star, that can obviously carry a team to the playoffs and be their best player, would be perfect for the Bucks. Giannis needs some experience, and he needs a player like Chris Paul on the team, so it would be perfect for them. Plus, they can get rid of a couple players here and there that, didn't exactly play that good for them in the playoffs. So it would be really nice for, the Milwaukee Bucks and OKC, and if OKC want to contend on the run while rebuilding, they could still have a couple nice players they could get from the Bucks in return, like Eric Bledsoe, etc., to, kind of put them alongside SGA and build a team around SGA. So I feel like it could be a very interesting move for both sides of the story. So Timberwolves get Aaron Gordon. Why not? If Aaron Gordon can defend the power forward consistently, which we've seen that he can, do quite a bit at the Orlando Magic, maybe some inconsistency here and there. But if he can, keep defending the power forward position and be a nice defender there while putting up some nice offensive numbers and still continuing to space the floor a little bit, great move for the Minnesota Timberwolves. I could definitely see, a starting five of potentially D'Lo at point guard, Anthony Edwards at shooting guard, whoever they go out and get a small forward or Jarrett Culver, Aaron Gordon at power forward, and Cat at center. With Malik Beasley coming off the bench, that is a genuine threat to make the playoffs, and I think that would be a very nice team. I would be very surprised if that team didn't make the playoffs, as, OKC will be falling out. Portland, I don't know if they will. I feel like Portland will be, as good next season. Ooh, again, it would become very close for them to make the playoffs, but I do feel like one or two teams may be falling out, and considering the Warriors should be back in the playoff next season, I do feel like the Timberwolves could definitely get up there. Moving on now, we got the New Orleans Pelicans and Caris LeVert. This kind of just summarizes the thing that I said earlier with Drew Holiday and the Pelicans. I do believe Caris LeVert would definitely be thrown in that package, so that would just make a lot of sense there. The New York Knicks, Chris Paul. We've talked about this so much on this channel at this point. Perfect. It would be perfect for the Knicks. You know, again, I've talked about it in a lot of videos. I highly recommend going and checking out my New York and Chris Paul videos if you haven't already. I believe getting Chris Paul to the team would be absolutely perfect for the New York Knicks, as this could, give them a veteran to really build around, and it just would be, again, a very, very interesting thing to potentially see. And again, they could compete on the run while making the playoffs. They'd have Chris Paul that can help develop the young core, very similar to how he developed the young core at Oklahoma. So I feel like this would be a really nice deal by the New York Knicks, and OKC could get a couple of nice players here in return as well. They could get Julius Randle in, even though Julius Randle's got a really bad contract. They could bring him in and straight away replace Danilo Gallinari, who is being reported he will most likely be leaving as well. So again, very nice move in my opinion. I don't know if it would happen, but I would really like it. Oklahoma City get back draft picks. This is such a bland one for OKC. You know what? As a matter of fact, whoever wrote this article, it's been a great article so far, but I just want to say, this is a terrible one for OKC. Not that they shouldn't get draft picks, but I guarantee there were a couple players out there that you could definitely say OKC should go out and trade for. You know, a couple that come to mind straight away are, if they're going to be trading Chris Paul to the Bucks, well, Eric Bledsoe, again, they're going to want to build a team around SGA. They've got enough picks in the future. They're going to want to try and contend while drafting assets and drafting players on the side. So if they could bring in, a Eric Bledsoe and a couple players from the Bucks and a couple first-round picks, yes, you do fill in the Oklahoma City draft picks, but they could come out of this and still get into a couple of nice players and compete for the playoffs with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in the future, while again building up draft picks. And then again, they're not going to get top 10 picks maybe for the next 5 to 10 years, as I don't expect the Clippers or the Rockets to be bad anytime soon. So why not compete on the run like what the Celtics used to do? I could definitely feel like something could happen like that. So two players, to summarize this, not draft picks, there are two players I could definitely put in for this. Eric Bledsoe if they were going to trade Chris Paul to the Bucks, and Julius Randle if they were going to trade Chris Paul to the Knicks. Those are two players. Again, Bledsoe would replace Chris Paul, and Julius Randle would replace Dylan Gallinari if he does leave, which he most likely will. So pretty lazy that they've just put draft picks here. Again, very interesting. The Magic, Spencer Dinwiddie. I guess if they could go out and get Dinwiddie, that'd be a nice move. They could have him as their new backup point guard. I still feel like they're going to want to keep Markelle Fultz their starting and see if he could potentially be their future starting point guard, again, for the next couple of years. And I feel like Dinwiddie would be a very nice player to put alongside with him, considering a couple of their backup point guards, like Michael Carter-Williams, who plays backup shooting guard, could be leaving. We've heard a lot of rumors that he's getting interest from the Cavs. They've also got DJ Augustine, who could be getting interest from the Lakers. I feel like both of those players could be leaving, so that fills up about like 40 minutes they need to replace on their backup guard positions. I feel like Fultz is going to get an extra 5 to 10 minutes per night for the Orlando Magic next season, so they will need to replace the 30 minutes. I feel like Dinwiddie can definitely play that 30 minutes off the bench. So again, would be a nice move. The Philadelphia 76ers and Buddy Hield. Oh, I don't even know what I've just done there, but I just wanted to highlight this, stuff that up quite a bit. But Philadelphia and Buddy Hield would be a great move. They can definitely bring in the spacing. Again, he doesn't exactly have the greatest contract, but if they could move Al Horford on to whoever it's going to be, and then go out and trade for Buddy Hield, again, you're saving about $5 million on that Al Horford contract, and then you get to move Tobias Harris to the power forward position. Buddy Hield can play, shooting guard, and the spacing would go up so much, and you've just saved yourself a lot of cap as well. So, very, very good move by the Philadelphia 76ers if they can make this happen. Phoenix Suns, Trey Lyles. What a random player to put on this. I don't even know what to go. I don't even know that much about Trey Lyles, if I'm going to be honest. I don't know extremely a lot about him, but again, if they want to bring in another player like Trey Lyles, just to add a lot of depth to the team, I guess that's what the Suns could be doing. But I feel like the Suns need to go for a star. Again, one player that I think would be interesting would be Blake Griffin, as you're pretty much taking a chance on him. You can give up like a second round pick and a player for him. Not exactly much at all, and he could automatically come in and start at power forward. And yes, you know, he could maybe put up 15 points per game. And just be a nice player here and there. But there is also the potential that because he's been out for so long, yes, it's going to be a hard road to get back into it, but because he's been able to actually recover and give his body time to do so, he could come in and average 18 to 22 points per night for them and be a very nice second star. So I would just take the gamble on Blake Griffin, if I'm honest, with the Phoenix Suns. Portland Trailblazers, Ben Simmons. If I've heard rumors that CJ McCollum might, be getting a lot of interest from Philadelphia. If they were to trade CJ McCollum to Philadelphia, it would be to add shooting alongside Ben Simmons. There's no way they're going to be trading Simmons. It just doesn't make any sense. Sacramento Kings, Victor Oladipo. Maybe not. Like, I mean, if they want to start Bogdan at shooting guard, which has been rumored that they've wanted to right now, if I was them, I would look to get rid of Harrison Barnes' contract. And obviously they're going to be trading Buddy Hield, so considering Bogdan would be mainly playing that shooting guard position, I feel like he could play small forward, but your defense would need to be, really good to make up for a couple of the defensive issues he may have at small forward. So, yeah, Oladipo shooting guard, maybe you're right. I just don't know if they're the number one team on Oladipo's radar. San Antonio Spurs, Aaron Gordon. Why? I feel like the Spurs need to start a rebuild. What's the actual point of going out and getting Aaron Gordon? Doesn't make that much sense to me. Toronto Raptors, RJ Barrett. What? Why would the Raptors trade for RJ Barrett, and why would the New York Knicks trade RJ Barrett away? What? Because RJ Barrett is Canadian? Why? Why would, he's from Canada, so why would they want to do this at all? I don't really know. Doesn't make that much sense to me. The Utah Jazz and Kevin Love, I really do like this move. I feel like they should be playing Bojan at small forward. I feel like that makes a lot of sense. Kevin Love can, then go on to play that power forward type of position, and they would have a lot of spacing throughout the floor. And again, I feel like it'd make a lot of sense to bring players like Joe Ingles, etc. off the bench, and they really do need a power forward. I mean, yes, the Bojan kind of small ball system with Rudy Gobert is pretty interesting, but I do feel like Kevin Love would be a really nice experiment to put alongside him, and yeah, that'd be a really nice team. Washington Wizards, salary matching the Knicks. What? There's no fault of the individual player. The Washington Wizards have one of the game's most, contracts, which is bad. Thanks to injuries for John Wall. So maybe one team that make a splash on the trade market, assuming they would miss out on some of the other possibilities already detailed. What? So what do they want? New York has plenty of salary matching contracts. It can combine to get Wall's money. So what are they saying? So Washington pretty much trade John Wall to the New York Knicks for Julius Randle and Bobby Portis. Okay, that's a weird one that I feel like the Wizards wouldn't do. I feel like the Wizards, yes, they've got a bad contract in John Wall, but why would they want to take on Julius Randle in that contract if they could just keep Wall for another season or two and see how he goes and play him with Bradley Beal and try and run the experiment back and trying to make the playoffs? I don't feel like they're going to make the playoffs with Julius Randle as their second option, so very random trade. I don't really like it at all. That's just a random one, but again, I would really like to thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for all the latest NBA news and NBA content. Of course, don't forget to comment in the comment section down below. What are your thoughts and opinions on these trades? Do you guys like them? Do you guys think they're bad? Or again, do you guys just think, well, again, I'd just like to know your thoughts and opinions. Let me know down below. But of course, don't forget to subscribe to my gaming channel and my IRL/vlogging channel. Definitely don't forget to check out my podcast as well if you haven't already. Links for them will all be in the description down below. But as I was saying, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and comment. And I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.